Words mean whatever people use them to mean, and that's the end of the story. Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and the fit for this video is the reign of the supermen. There's no such thing as the dictionary or even the definition. There are just dictionaries and there are definitions, and all of them are imperfect attempts to try to describe usage, because meaning is dictated by usage, not by dictionaries, not by definitions. There is no dictionary that has ever existed, that will ever exist, that could ever exist, that in any way, shape, or form could establish, dictate, delineate, prescribe, or adjudicate what words are allowed to mean. That is not how definitions work. That is not what dictionaries are there for. They're there so that if you don't know what a word means, you can get a gentle nudge in the right direction, and then you can go gain experience with usage in order to fill out the contours and the extent and the boundaries of that category, if any such boundaries exist. Frequently they do not, and particularly for things like conceptual categories that we have created, because dictionaries impose a conceptual substructure of necessary and sufficient conditions and features, and that reduces them down to a short list of those features that allows you to define a word or a concept in a very brief way. However, most conceptual categories did not form, are not learned, and are not used with any reference to any such necessary and sufficient conditions or features. And so that definition is only an imperfect approximation. And because many of the features that we identify tend to be binary, it generates an artificial sense of boundaries, and conceptual categories frequently don't have boundaries until a need for them pops up, and we delineate them in frequently rather arbitrary ways. And so dictionary definitions don't serve to bind categories, and they certainly don't prescribe any such boundaries. And anyone who tries to use a dictionary definition to insist that any given use of a word that is agreed upon by some kind of social group is somehow false, not true, unauthorized, not real, somehow it just magically doesn't work, that's asinine. That's an attempt to try to take what is fundamentally descriptive and render it prescriptive only for the sake of structuring power and values and boundaries. But if you use a word to mean something, and the people you're talking to understand what you are using that word to mean, communication achieved, and as the great poet once said, nothing else matters.